Hello YouTubers, Troz here, back playing some more Kerbal Space Program. Last time we left Bill, Bob, and Jeb in orbit on their way to Minmus. And we pick up a few minutes later. I basically just played with the maneuvers for about 7 minutes or so. And I got a bit of a better intercept. We wind up being about 25 kilometers above Minmus. And our burn is in about 8 minutes. So we're coming around. I believe this is us here. Yep. And just as we enter the light side, we'll do our burn. Maybe a little before, actually. We don't have a burn estimate because I exited the game, or at least switched back to the Space Center. So that kind of loses how much thrust to weight you have. Sure, this is going to be about a minute burn or so. I'll do a quick little burn about a minute to go. So then on our way out here, we do a inclination correction because compared to most everything else, at least compared to the moon, Minmus is tilted it quite a bit. So we're kind of in a equatorial orbit here, and as we come out, we'll do a correction. It's most efficient to do the corrections out here, but we'd have to make a really big correction at that point because we'd be basically pretty far below Minmus. So about halfway is a good halfway point between being efficient because you're far away from the thing you're orbiting and how much of a angle change you have to make. So yeah, that's the plan. So I am going to, I'm going to point in the direction we need to go, and then I'm going to time warp till about a minute and a half to go. I'll do a really quick test burn to just get a good estimate for how much we're going to need to burn here. And then we'll see how much we'll have to wait to get our burn in. So let's time warp. That's one of the other capsules we rescued someone from. So we're just coming around here. Just a few more minutes. Sun's about to rise. Maybe I should have had that open, but we weren't anywhere near close to running out of power. Alright, we're about 2 minutes away, and so I'm just gonna... Alright, so that's 2 minutes and 34, so about a minute and 15 is where we want to start our burn. Hopefully we'll have the fuel in this stage. I think we will. I'd really like to have the fuel in this stage to also perform the maneuver halfway there. So, alright, we got about 10 seconds before we start burning. 3, 2, 1, burn. And there we go, we're charging up. And we're on our way. Not that high thrust. But we have a lot of mass here for this engine. So this burn should bring our apoapsis pretty far out towards Minmus. Actually, it'll go beyond Minmus a little bit, and then this is mostly just a inclination change, basically thrusting north. When we get down to the end here, I'm really going to throttle back, just to make sure we don't overshoot this because it's going to start going out pretty far, because we'll be going, well, close to, or over 3,000 meters per second when we're done with this burn, which is close to escape velocity. Slowly getting out there. We've got some time left in this burn. We only just passed the halfway point. And I think that is Minmus out there, sparkling, right above my mouse cursor. Let's make sure we're right on our target here. Alright, let's... Our thrust isn't even taking us out to Moon's orbit yet, but once it does, it will be really quickly going much further out. You see it's speeding up, and I'm gonna cut wrong key for cut, and I'm gonna stop it there. Because that's... Well, let's turn on RCS. Okay. What is that doing? So thrusting forward, well... 3. We're within a meter of where we want it to be. So I'm gonna say that's good. Where does that leave us? Well, it leaves our periapsis quite a bit higher, but we can make a small correction. Now this is, as you can see, it's a tiny, tiny burn. 38 meters per second. 39. Let's see what we can do to correct this. We're going a bit high. $83, $81, somewhere between 20 and 30 I'd like. 50, 28, 21. That is pretty good. Although it does send us pretty inclined if we... Well, that did something. 40. 26. And it's even... Alright, this is going to be a pretty sensitive burn. But basically, we'll come out here, we'll head somewhat northward, and that will pull this up. Seeing that it's only 38 meters, we'll be going pretty slow, I think, by the time we get out there. That did, though, use up nearly all the fuel in this. But I'm assuming there'll be enough for this maneuver. So, we got about 2 days and 4 hours. Let's see. Oh. Kerbal Space Center is just going to be poking over the horizon in a bit. And we're on our way. And we have a few days, so let's time warp here. So we are heading out, and that appears to be Minmus over there. Kind of losing it in the glare of the sun there, but it's right there. So trying to keep my eye on the time, so I'm not using a warp to here or anything like that. There's the moon and Kerbin. There's Minmus. We have just about 3 hours now. 2 hours. Oh, 2 hours and change. Alright, slowing down a little bit. Alright, we got 1 hour until our burn. Minmus is pretty much going to get closer to the sun. And I can't even see it at this point. I think that is it, because as I change my angle, you kind of see it sparkle a bit. Anyway, we want to get ready for this burn. We want to turn RCS off. So you can see this is really almost directly north, only slightly off, so that we get lined up right. Okay. I'm gonna just time warp a little bit here. And we're going to use the main engines for this, but ever so slightly. And I will have to get ready on the correct key this time instead of the full throttle. Make sure my finger is on the cut throttle even before we start burning, because that's what happened. I accidentally hit full throttle with the last burn instead of cut, but we wound up cutting at just the right time. Alright, we're gonna go to real time. I'm gonna do the burn entirely from this view just because it's not gonna be a long burn, and I want to make sure we stop this in somewhere in the range between 20 and 30. I don't care if we get 26, I just don't want to be too much higher than 30. Of course, I don't want to be hitting the ground either. Although that's one possibility of going direct to the ground, but that requires a lot more thrust, and we won't really get a good idea if we'll have the fuel we need or anything like that. Anyway, let's burn. Doesn't matter if we're exactly on the time, like we... Alright. That's what we're looking for. 180, 50, 20, 100, 70, 60, 50, 40, 20. That's really not what we were hoping for, but, you know, getting into a polar orbit isn't that bad. So, I'm gonna call that decent. We still have another 5 days to get out to Minmus, and we're gonna be going rather slow once we get there. One problem we do have right now, which I'm going to correct, is let's rotate our ship so our solar panels are getting charged. We still have a little bit of fuel here. Wow. Yeah. So we have Kerbin and the moon over there. We have the sun. And it's a little hard to see, but that little speck right above my mouse pointer, you can see it kind of sparkling there as I tilt the camera around. That is Minmus. We will see it in 5 days. I'm going to set a maneuver right there, just so we have a countdown. So let's time warp towards Minmus. Alright, here it comes. Got about a day left. Got about 2 hours left. About 30 minutes or so as of now. At least until we get into a sphere of influence. "10 minutes. And it's automatically going down to 50x. And I believe we are now in Minmus's sphere of influence. Let's close that. Alright, so we're going to be practically in a polar orbit. But that's not that bad. So we just need to be in orbit and then land on one of these flat spots. The easy to land positions. And from there we can then head east or west or whatever we want. The idea here is that we're going to have the fuel to make a few landings and gather science in a few different biomes. But to do that, first we have to land. So let's... and to land, it'd be nice to get into orbit first. That's a bit on the tight side, but What is that? You're 19 by 22. That's fine. And it's another 2.5 hours away, and a 20-second burn. Well, I can say we probably have 20 seconds of fuel. But not on this engine. We did about 2.5 minutes of burn, plus a little bit more than that to get into orbit. So I can say, I'm going to guesstimate that we have 3 minutes of fuel here. So a 20-second burn is about a tenth. We're probably then going to use another tenth or so to land, but that still leaves us... Alright, let's say another tenth or so to land, and let's say 20%, 2/10 to get back home. That still leaves us half our fuel to, once we've landed once, to hop to some other locations. And that should be plenty. Just right now, we wanna head on into Minmus. Where did you go? We should be pointing. There it is. It's in the sun still. Didn't see it at first because of the glare. Alright, let's get a little closer. About an hour and 15 to our burn. One hour. Picking up some speed, but yeah, low gravity, so we're not gonna actually pick up that much speed. There's 20-second burn. I'm gonna stop about 2 minutes beforehand. $15 minutes. Okay, we flew past here before. We didn't get all the science that we have, though. We logged the temperature. Cool. And I don't think we had... Did we have pressure? I don't think we had pressure. I'm actually not sure we had Trails Bay. That's going to be good. Goo is right here. Terrific. We got a crew report. We'll do an EVA, but only after we get into orbit. So let's prepare to get into orbit. That looks good. Recenter the camera there. It looks like we're really high up, but we're pretty close. Alright, we're going to start the burn in about 3 seconds. 2, 1, go. Out of fuel. Go. So long. I'm just going to watch this. Cut. 25 by 20 is perfectly fine. And yeah, that used hardly any of our fuel. Let's change the camera. There we go. That's a little more free. Yeah, that's a little more standard, seeing the ground below you. Although we are, or have just passed under the South Pole. Actually, on this orbit, there doesn't seem to be any good places to land. But maybe by next orbit, this will have rotated under our path. Because as of right now, I mean, even though we do seem to have a lot of fuel, don't want to risk using much more than we have to. Who is... We'll send Bob out. He is our scientist. He can reset all the devices. While we're here, I did have... Here we go. I'm going to extend a ladder, just so we can grab on, and I'm hoping from here we can reset all the devices. It doesn't go all the way to the ground. We don't really care about that. It's EVA. Get you an EVA report. Oh, and this counts for different regions, huh? Can you, I don't think we can... Yeah, we can't log a seismic scan right now. Can't... Are you close enough? Yeah, alright, get your pack on. Down. Can you grab? There we go. Are you close enough? No. Okay. I was hoping the ladder would be useful. Seems like it won't be as useful as I would have liked. Collect the data. Restore. It's operational again because he's a scientist and knows how to clean it up and properly use the tools. Let's take that data. I'm going to fly over to the other side. I hope we'll be able to do this on the ground. That's going to be the tricky part, I guess. Or I'll have to learn how to do this in suborbital. Let's take the data from that and collect the data from the goo canister and reset it as well. Okay. That is all the data we need to collect. All the science is reset, so we can run them again. Let's reboard. And you know what? Let's send everybody out on an EVA here, just so they get the experience. I think. Oh, we're over the slopes. Great. Keep that data. Board. And we'll EVA Jeb. Are we still over the slopes? Are you holding on? You're slowly sliding down. Alright, over the lowlands. That's great. I think that was 3 different reports. Let's board. That should give you all a bit of experience. But the real experience will be landing and walking on the surface, which I think we'll attempt next time. Why is that? When did that turn into a maneuver there? So we have basically, if we're going to land the next orbit, we're going to add a maneuver here which slows us down. You can see that's a very small maneuver. And that gets us down to about 5 kilometers. And then I would say we need another maneuver approximately here. Now this is going to be like 100 or so meter per second burn. Probably more than closer to 150, because that's how fast we're going. The 7 will slow us down to maybe 140-ish, but then we'll be falling towards the surface, so we'll pick up some speed. So maybe 150, 160, and that should get us coming straight down, and hopefully we'll have orbited around, or the planet will have rotated as we orbit around. You can see this is over an hour away, so hopefully we'll be on the flats at that point. If not, we can do a small maneuver over here to tilt us over onto the flats, but I'm hopeful that that will bring us over. And we'll land on these flats, because we know the altitude and that will be the easiest, but that's all going to be for next time. So, I want to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with some more Kerbal Space Program. See you then.